one of my least favorite things, one of my biggest pet peeves about so many speakers out there, so many webinars you tune into is we yell at you, we scream at you, we get you all hyped up, and we send you on your way. And what did you get from it? How are these teaching objectives helping you? I want to give you something tangible. I want to give you something tactile. And I want to give you everything you need that you could literally never talk to me ever again, and you will be better for it. So without further ado, if you guys are ready, I want to build a commission pipeline dashboard with you. But before we get started, I don't want you rushing to open up tabs and windows and completely derail your focus. I need you focused here. For this first round, I want to suggest that you not try to follow along. You're going to get lost. Go ahead, pay attention, take notes. After this webinar, I promise you, we're going to have a recording available. And you can use it to guide. You can slow it down. You can speed it up. You can pause it. And you can follow each step. You guys ready? Let's go. So when we are building a dashboard, we have to do several different things. And the first of these things is create a spreadsheet. You do this by going to spreadsheets.google.com, and it's going to help you out. So you need to put all of the most important data points from your CRM into this spreadsheet that you want to use for your dashboard. To help with you guys in this section for the commission pipeline dashboard, we are going to need a transaction side by listing and buying, total commission, buyer side commission, listing side commission, closing date, address, status, clients, and agent. Once you have all of these pieces plugged into your spreadsheet, we can then move to Data Studios and start building our dashboard together. So we go to dashboard or datastudios.google.com, and we can start building that dashboard. You can do that by hitting create or blank report. Either one will work. They're going to get you to the same spot. Once you do that, you click the create button. It's going to ask for your data source. This is one of the really cool parts about building dashboards is you've got all these different data sources to pick from. Different things from around your business that can pull data, such as Google Analytics, BigQuery, AppSheet, Cloud Spinner, all these different pieces. And maybe you use some of them, maybe you don't. But it's a really cool opportunity for you to do that. Now, today, we're just going to focus on Google Sheets. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but maybe we can talk about some of those other ones later because there's some really cool stuff you can do with it. But go ahead on the far right-hand side, click on that Google Sheets. And from there, we're going to move to the next step and actually map all of the data from that Google Sheet that we just built for the commission pipeline. So from here, you need to find that Google spreadsheet that we just built. And we're going to map all of these different sources. So it's easy enough, 4 steps. Step 1 is you need to select all items. This is going to let you see all of your different sheets in Google Sheets. And after that, you need to select the spreadsheet that you just made for the commission pipeline. For mine, I actually just named it Webinar Fields. That way it was easy enough to find. And I don't have any other ones currently available. Once we've done that, you need to then click the worksheet that we are working in. Now, this is really cool, and it's kind of a side note, but if you have different tabs in your spreadsheet, you can actually assign them differently within your mapping. But for today, we should only have just that sheet. Once we've got all of those different pieces, then we click on the very far bottom right, that blue add button. We're in business. All right. So now that we have all of the mapping done, we've got our spreadsheet built, and we are in Google's Data Studios. Let's take a moment, and I want to actually dive into all of the different things that you can kind of do. Or rather, not all the things, but the two things that we need to focus on for building this dashboard: the controls and the charts. Each of these are going to give you different ways to represent data. And so that's kind of why I want to focus on them today. So first, let's look at charts. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of drop-down charts that are available for us to pick from. And all of them are going to give us different things and do different things. So for our commission pipeline dashboard, we need to start by adding two pie graphs to indicate the commission by buy side as well as their status. So all you do from that dropdown, click on the pie chart, and then it's going to give you this little click to drag area. And this is going to indicate the size of the overall piece, and you can start to figure out where on your dashboard you want to add it. This is sometimes the most difficult part, figuring out where you want it to be, what space it needs. So it's kind of a Tetris game. I hope you're really good at Tetris, but it's actually also one of the most fun parts because you can start to figure out what your dashboard looks like, how you want to lay it out. Once you have all of these pieces, just go ahead and click and it's going to place it in. Once you have that pie graph where you want it, you're going to notice a couple things. Because you filled out the data in the spreadsheet beforehand, your data should already be populated. So if you're not seeing the data, it's because your spreadsheet is blank and Data Studios doesn't have anything to pull from. So that's why it was so important that we added some data. Maybe you don't add all your data now. Maybe we circle back and add that later. But you do need to add some of your data now so that you can validate or make sure that these pieces are reporting properly. Now, while your pie graph section is still selected, you might notice on the very far right-hand side, you have access to a panel. And this panel is where you can either change the data that is being represented, or you can also click over on that style section and you can adjust the color of the pie graph and all of its different pieces. So this is really handy when you're wanting to customize the metrics you have reporting for any given graph, or maybe you want to change the name of the output displayed so that it's not an abbreviation or something like that. And you can actually do that by going into the specific dimensions, hovering over the very left-hand side of the section of data and click the little pencil that appears. Usually it's over an ABCD and you hover, then a pencil will pop up. So once we have all of that understanding kind of in place, that's the process for adding each of the pieces. So I've started adding all of the different pieces for this section of the dashboard. As you can see, there's two pie charts, 4 scorecards. There's a pivot chart to display our data at the very bottom. And once you have all of these pieces where you want them, you can select each chart by clicking on it and moving over the right-hand section to adjust the data points used to ensure we're showing all of the data we want to display. This is kind of where the meat and potatoes of the dashboard are going to be found. But to ensure we have all of the dashboard displaying data properly, we also need to be able to sort. So we need to look at the second area, which is actually the controls. In the controls, you're going to notice we have significantly less drop-down options. But the controls are essentially the elements of the dashboard that, well, they let you control the flow of information for better sorting and managing of your data. The two that we are going to use for the commission pipeline dashboard are the status and the date range controls. Each of these controls will allow us to narrow down by specific date ranges or status or any combo of the two. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and added those to the top. Now from here, let's kind of button things up. I like to add a rectangle box and then send it to the very back as a border to show the status and date range. Once you have all of these pieces plugged into your spreadsheet and your spreadsheet ties to your Data Studios dashboard, boom, we have a running dashboard. Now, one last thing before we move on, how we add new fields to our dashboard is by adding them to our spreadsheet and then updating our spreadsheet linked to our dashboard. And that's on the very top of that right-hand menu.